So I've been investing since the age of 19. And when I first started, I was not a young Warren Buffett. I made a bunch of stupid mistakes that actually cost me money, but thankfully I actually broke even in the end. But there are a lot of things I ignored. For example, who was going to be my broker? What was I going to be investing into? What was my strategy? Was it long-term or short-term? Should I be worried about exciting stuff or the boring stuff? Should I worry about, for example, individual companies or, for example, investing in the overall market? These were all questions that I did not care about answering because at the moment, I only cared about one thing. Let's be real. Putting money in and taking more money than I put in. That was my strategy. That was my overall goal. And thankfully, I did not lose money. I broke even, but it could have been, for example, a big problem. So in this video, if you are in your 20s and you're watching this video, I started at age 19. Once I figured out all my strategies, I started investing again with about $7. So far, I've grown it to a little bit over $300,000. And I say this not to show off, but to tell you, hey, what I do actually works. But what I do is not exciting. What I do is not genius. What I do is basic, it is boring, and anyone can actually do it. The only thing you need to be is patient. That's it. You just need to be patient. And you cannot be trying to seek thrills with this whole investment strategy because that is not what I'm offering you guys in this video. As you watch this video, it's not something you do, for example, in your 20s and change in your 30s. No, it's something you start in your 20s and you keep it the same until you want to take money out. That is it. It's not complicated whatsoever. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what my investment strategy actually is. As always, guys, like this video. It helps a lot. And also subscribe if you're brand new because I have more content on the way. Now, the very first thing, guys, is when I first started investing at age 19, I wanted investing to be sexy. And what I mean is I wanted to invest into individual companies. I wanted to be just like Warren Buffett. I wanted to pick companies and have stories about I bought at $10, I sold at 40. And what this actually was like in real life was I would buy a company and every 45 seconds I would be checking and saying, hey, it hasn't moved or it's going down. Do I sell? Oh my gosh, this is cool stuff. It's exciting, but what's going to happen with my money? And you know, in reality, in that moment, when you're first getting started, you get very excited. It's so cool. It's gambling. It feeds that gambling urge in all of us, okay? So that's why it's so exciting. But then when I actually thought about it, I was like, is this what I want? If these were actually my life savings, do I want to wake up and say, hey, I wonder if I'm broke today? The answer was obviously no. Do I want to go throughout my day and say, hey, I wonder if it's down 20% today? You know, that's not what I wanted. And what I actually wanted was actually very basic. I wanted boring, predictable, and dependable. I didn't want anything that was super crazy exciting, was bound to make me either stress the heck out or, for example, be very, like, I didn't want any of those things, okay? So here are 3 things that I try to focus on when it comes to investing as a responsible person in my 20s, okay? First of all, you want to invest into things you wholeheartedly understand. What I mean is, you're not going to understand every single thing about the stock market. You never will, okay? Just like with the Bible, you never will. But in some sense, you want to only understand, or you only want to invest into things you really understand. So what I mean is this, okay? I know that when I invest into a certain stock, I understand everything I need to understand about it. But there are certain things that I don't know. I don't know if tomorrow there's going to be a war, so I can't really accommodate for those things, okay? But everything that's actually in my deposition or at my, basically everything I can know, I want to know. That's the whole idea. It's not that crazy. So you want to have a full good understanding of what you're putting your money into, because if you don't, then you're just basically gambling, and that's just stupid, because again, this is your money that you're putting in and you don't want to put into something you don't understand. All right, bad idea. Number 2, I follow this strategy is basically, I want to put my money into something that if I were to leave the country for 10, 20 years or 30 years, I would come back and have very good confidence that my money is still there. That's how I feel, okay? So what I invest into, I feel like if I left the country for 10 years or 20 years and I came back, my money would still be there. The only way my money is not there, if it's the country is not there. And then that's a whole different issue, okay? But Warren Buffett always said, you know, when he put his money in Coca-Cola, he always felt like if he left for 10 years and came back, Coca-Cola would still be around because it's such a good brand, okay? That's the logic behind it. And again, this is a belief. It is not, for example, a full point, okay? It's not like saying it's a possibility 100%, because again, countries do go down. Things do happen in life, but That's the type of confidence you want to have into whatever you invest into. Now, by the way, it's not to say that if the company is trash and is changing, you're going to keep your money in forever. No, if things change, then you have to basically take a look at your investment again and see, hey, is this still a good investment? And if it's not, you got to take your money out. Don't be an idiot. Now, number 3 is this, guys, okay? You want to think about, does this thing have a track record? Okay, so what I mean is this, okay? Everyone always says, everyone does this when they first start, okay? I did this too. They go to Apple, they go to, for example, the entire time, right? So it shows them what the price was when it first started, which was like a few pennies or whatever, to what the price is now. And they're like, yo, if I had bought when Apple had first came out, I would be rich. And I would tell you that would be a very stupid idea. And here's why. Because Apple, when it first came out, does not have a track record. You don't know about the sales. You don't know about what it's going to do. You don't know about the management. You don't have enough information to make a sound investment. In those first 10 years, you just don't know enough, okay? Now, today in hindsight, after so many years and decades and knowing the company is successful, you might say, well, it was a good investment, but at the time, you wouldn't know that. So in the time you exist right now, don't assume that, hey, this company has so much potential, it might be the next Apple. That's a stupid way to adjust to investments. It's dumb. Don't do that, okay? What you really want to do is, based on the information you have right now, is this a good investment? And if the answer is no, then you don't make the investment. If the answer is yes, you make the investment. And that goes also with Apple. In those first years of Apple, guess what? Apple had massive problems. They had massive problems with sales. They almost went bankrupt. Microsoft had to rescue them. Steve Jobs left the company. It was not a good investment in the beginning, okay? At all. But eventually, once you actually reach into that good investment territory and you would have put money when it was actually a good investment with the sales history, with the good management, with the good brand, with the good free cash flow, once you have all that data, it still would have been a good investment and it still would have been a good opportunity to actually get rich. But it was not when it wasn't. That's my point. Now, number 2, guys, is I want you guys to forget about these 3 lies that everyone is told when they first get started in investing, depending on the books you read or the people you actually listen to. Number 1, okay, you're too stupid to understand the market. So don't even bother trying to understand it. Just give your money to an expert and have that money basically be invested by them to make you more money, okay? You have 2 sides of the field with this argument. You have, for example, the Dave Ramsey people that say, hey, you can put your money into mutual funds. These are experts. They're going to make you more money. They have a track record, great stuff, okay? And you pay them 1-2%. That's fine. No big problem, okay? You have the other field, which basically Ramit Sethi, that basically says, hey, don't bother with stock picking because it's so hard. You might as well just put your money into index fund, which basically make you more money. They're low in fees. And then you have, for example, the third field, which is basically, if you really want to be a stock picker, you're not going to ask anyone about stock picking. You're just going to do it. And I solely, heartily believe that. Don't know if it's a sentence or not, but it makes sense. And here's why, okay? First of all, if you pay someone 1-2% of your portfolio as a fee, you end up losing about 1/3 of your profits. So I don't recommend putting your money into high fee mutual funds. It's stupid. Don't do it. Most of them do not beat the market or actively held mutual funds. Then you have, for example, Ramit Sethi. For those people that don't want to pay a bunch of fees, once you understand index funds, which is not that difficult to understand, basically, just read, for example, either Ramit's book or, for example, the little book about common sense investing. You read those books, you understand index fund investing in like 4 hours or so, and then you start investing for a lifetime in them, and you have very low fees, which basically gets you richer, okay? Because you keep that 1/3 of the money you would have paid in fees just putting your money into index funds, okay? Then you have the group that wants to do individual investing. That's a whole separate group, but my point is there are no fees there, so I won't talk about that, and that's another video, okay? Now, number 2, guys, second lie is this, okay? Is you need to invest a lot of money if you want to make a lot of money. No, it's not true. The truth is you actually have something in your favor. It's basically called compound interest. And right here, I have some math. If you were to invest $200 every month for 40 years at 10%, you would have a little bit over $1 million, which is actually great stuff. Now, my rule is this: 40 years is a very long time. And doing $200 when you're making, for example, on average, $3,000 or $4,000 is not really that much money. So what you really want to do is make a rule when it comes to investing. What's the percentage that you actually want to invest into? And use a compound interest calculator to calculate exactly how much money that's actually going to get you. My point is this: you have how do I say this? You have someone on your side, not someone, it's a thing. You have compound interest on your side. Meaning if you're investing a small amount of money because of compound interest, it will accumulate into a good amount of money over time. You don't need to be a millionaire or billionaire or have a bunch of extra money to invest. Just get started with a percentage of your income, okay? Now, the third lie people tell you all the time about investing is basically you need to cut down on everything. You need to be super cheap. The answer is you don't need to deprive yourself to be an investor. You just need to be managing your money well, because if you manage your money well, you're going to have extra money to put aside for investing. You don't need to be reusing or toilet paper or you're reusing underwear to save on water. It's disgusting. You don't need to do those things, okay? Now, the third thing, guys, is this, okay? The last point here, which is basically my investment strategy and how I actually do it. Believe it or not, I'm in my 20s. I only have one investment, and that is I put all my money into the S&P 500. As far as the stock market, that's all I do. S&P 500 contains the 500 largest companies in the US. This basically accounts for 80% of the US economy output. So basically, my money is in the US economy. That's where I feel most comfortable. Now, if I wanted, I could have a much more balanced portfolio in the sense that, hey, I have the US, I have international markets, but what does that add? It adds more fees in a sense. It doesn't give me more safety. It limits, for example, volatility, but volatility does not equal risk. Volatility just basically means up and down, whatever, but overall risk is, guess what? If America falls, most likely, most countries out there will fall. So it's not like I'm going to be safer anyway, okay? So I choose to put my money just into the S&P 500. But there's another factor here. Before you start investing, I did not do this. I should have done this. So don't do as I do as I say, or as I recommend if you want to. It's basically, I should have paid off my debt first. That removes a lot of friction. Second, I should have basically invested in having an emergency account for 3 to 6 months of my expenses. This way, I have a foundation. And then I should have limited my investments to only 10 to 20% of my income. My big mistake was when I first started investing, I was so excited about the stock market and passive income, I wanted to dump absolutely all my money into the stock market, which cool stuff today because I have good money in there. But the idea is, if I would have just limited to 20% and I would have focused on buying a home and paying it off like basically debt free, which I have right now, but I kind of did it like backwards in a sense, the answer is I would have probably had some like rental properties, like 2 to 3 rental properties to give me cash flow. And I also would have had a good amount of money in the stock market. But my point is, learn and remember to diversify. The stock market is not everything. If I have all my money in the stock market, but I'm still paying a bunch of money in rent or mortgage and I have a bunch of debt and emergencies, guess what? It's a lot of friction. It's not really personal financial freedom in a sense. You want to focus on the whole picture. So if you want to focus on the whole picture, I have a link down below to my course. If you want to buy it, you buy it. But overall, all that stuff is also included in my channel. So if you want to just get it for free, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notified. But it is a lot more work to look through this and look at that. Everything is organized in the course. And that's what I wish I would have done from the beginning. Learning from all my mistakes, okay? But as always, guys, made it all the way to the end of the video. Here's a bonus. The company I invest my money with is called Vanguard. I don't do Robinhood. I don't do M1 Finance. I don't do like SoFi Invest or Cash App. I do boring stuff. Big company. And I also recommend, if you don't want to do Vanguard, you have Fidelity and you have Schwab. These are great companies, been around for a long time. If you're in your 20s, they've been around like triple what your age is. So that's why I put my money with them. They're very basic, low fees, and they have great customer service and a great track record. And by the way, if you are in your 20s, you should be investing your money, most likely, if I'm you, in a Roth IRA. This way you get all the tax advantages in the future. So it's still the same S&P 500, but you're putting your money in a Roth IRA. This way it kind of builds up, compounds, and when the time comes to take the money out, you're taking it out without any taxes, which is actually pretty cool stuff. Roth IRA, Roth IRA, Roth IRA. Extra money you can put into a brokerage account. That's it. Overall, investing is fun, but it's not a game. All right, it's real stuff. All right, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified. Up here, another banger. I hear my face. Subscribe, and as always, peace.